through this question for the first time, and please let me know if you have any questions of your own. So here it says on January 1st, 2005, Borrower Limited sold a 10% 3-year, $100 million bond when bonds of equivalent risk were and maturity were yielding 5% annually. Okay, so the 10% is your coupon rate. The 5% is your market rate, basically. So this is a bond that is trading at a premium because the coupon rate is so much higher. Interest payments are made annually on January 1st. Okay, so it's an annually paid bond. We want you to prepare the journal entry for the issuance. We want you to prepare the journal entry to record the expense on December 31st, 2005, 6, 7. What is the balance of the premium on January 1st, 2008? And what is the interest payment for January 1st, 2008? So we can solve all this using Excel. You can also do this by hand, but I'm going to use Excel. And we can do this using some of the basic functions in Excel and our basic knowledge of the bond amortization table, which is the table I'm kind of starting to build on the left here. Okay, so let's get into it. So we'll start with the issuance date. This will be Jan 1, 2005. There is no payment. There's no interest expense. These are all blank. The first thing we need to find is the carrying value. So how much is this bond being issued for? So to do this on Excel, let's actually make a list here on the left. So we have a face value of 100 million. Okay, I'm going to put 100. I'm doing this in millions just to keep the numbers kind of small. Actually, you know what? I'll just do 100 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'll put the comma so it's clear. 100 million. The coupon rate is 10%, which means the coupon payment is the face value multiplied by the coupon rate, as you would normally do. Remember, it's always face value times the coupon rate. So we did 100 million times 10%. Okay, this is our annual coupon payment. So if you want to find the price of the bond, we're going to use present value. So PV, open your bracket. First thing he's asking you is the rate. What's the rate? Here you put the periodic rate. So because it's a 5% yield, but it's annual, the rate is just 5%. But normally what you do in case you get a semi-annual bond or a quarterly bond, you would take the yield and you divide it by your frequency. So I'm doing 5% divided by 1, but this could have very well been 5 divided by 2 or whatever. Okay, so that's my rate. The number of payments, call it N. This is a 3-year bond with annual payments. So that's just 3 payments. Again, it's years times frequency. 3 times 1. Okay, so let's go back here. So PV. The rate is the 5%. N per, that's the number of payments. That's 3. The payment itself, PMT, that's your coupon payment. And FV, the future value, is your face value. The type, you should always put 0 because bonds pay their interest at the end of the year, not at the beginning. Close your bracket. And this will give you the value of the bond. Now, it's going to come out negative because that's just how Excel works. So what you want to do is just go in front of it on your formula and add a negative, add the negative, and that'll just flip the sign. So this bond is being issued at $113 million. And we were expecting that premium because of the difference between the coupon rate and the yield. So that's my carrying value. And the unamortized premium, the premium, in other words, is really just the difference between the carrying value and the face value, right? It's selling for $13 million above the face value. Okay. So now the coupons are paid every year. So every year on January 1st, so January 1st, 2006, January 1st, 2007, January 1st, 2008. I'm going to stop here because that's how far the question goes. But every year on that date, we're going to make our payment. And we know our payment is what? Our payment is 10 million. Okay. So we're going to have 10 million on each of these dates as a payment. So let's fill that in. Good. Now the interest expense. So bonds, we calculate the interest expense using the effective interest rate method, which is simply the carrying value. And you should know this if you've been studying this chapter. This carrying value multiplied by the rate. Remember, it's the carrying value times the market rate. That's your interest expense. So I'm going to take here the interest. I'm going to do this number multiplied by my rate. And in that first year, I've got an interest expense of 5.6 million. The amortization is the difference between the payment and the interest expense. So we're paying 10 million. 5.6 of that is interest expense. So what's the rest? The remaining 4 million is to repay this premium. Remember that we collected a premium at the beginning of $13 million, right? Well, we're paying that back. So that's premium amortization. It's a fancy way of saying premium repayment. So the unamortized premium, which is a fancy way of saying the remaining premium, now would be this 13 million minus 4 million. So after 1 year, we still owe 9 million on that premium, but the carrying value now will come down. A couple ways you can do the carrying value. I like to do the face value plus the premium. If it were a discount, I would subtract it. So 1,000,009. And we're just going to repeat that process. So now my interest expense the next year would be this new carrying value times the 5%. Once more, the amortization is just the difference between the payment and the expense. And the unamortized premium, the remaining premium, is just this minus this. Now there's only 4 million left. You see, so now if I do face value plus the premium, the total is 104. We do it one more time. The interest expense here now will be carrying value times the rate. This minus this for the amortization. And look, it's exactly perfect, right? The amortization now will be 0. And your carrying value will be 100 million. And that's what you want. At maturity, this is the maturity because it was a 3-year bond, the carrying value should equal the face value. That's how you know you've done it right. So let's look at these journal entries now. So you're asked to record the issuance. So on Jan 1, 2005, your debit would be cash, first of all, because we're going to get cash. And how much cash we're getting, that is the carrying value. Now, you have a liability. So the liability would be bond payable. And that you always record it at the face value, which is 100 mil. The difference is called the premium on bond payable, or on bonds payable. Also a credit, so we're going to indent that. And that's that unamortized premium. Okay. Prepare the journal entry to record the interest expense on December 31st, 5, 6, and 7. So on each of these dates, we have to accrue the interest. We're not actually paying for it because it says in the question that the interest payments are made on January 1st. So technically, at the end of every year, you accrue your interest and then you pay it the following day. So what does that look like? Well, on December 31st, 2005, first of all, you've got interest expense, which is a debit. And everything you need is in your table. And that's the beauty of this table. So my interest expense is right here. Now, why am I taking that? Well, pay attention. I'm doing December 31st, 2005, which is 1 day before. So it's basically this line. Okay. You're also repaying the premium. Remember the amortization? This was a repayment. So I'm repaying it. So I'm going to debit the premium on bonds payable for this amount right here. And instead of putting cash, because we're not actually paying it on this date, you put interest payable, and that would be this plus this, which is your $10 million payment. And this is what it's going to look like every single year, okay? So look, I'm going to copy and paste this, but I'll change the year to 2006, and then I'll just pull my numbers. My interest expense the following year is this number. The premium repayment is this number, 10 million. Then I'll do it one more time. You guys might hear my kid in the background. Okay, so same thing. Look, I'm going to take this number, interest expense from right there. Repayment right there. 10 million. Of course, it's just this plus this. Cool. So here are the journal entries to record the interest expenses on these dates. Now, what is the balance of the premium on January 1st? 0, right? Basically, I could have asked you this for any one of these dates, but you're looking at this column right here, right? The balance on January 1st, 2006 was 9.2 million. The balance on January 1st, 2007 was 4.7 million. The balance of the premium on January 1st, 2008 is 0 because it's been fully repaid. So 0 is the answer to that. And then what is the interest payment for January 1st, 2008? Well, the interest payment, careful, is 10 million. That's it. Now here, let's take it a step further. Let's actually record that payment, and let's record the repayment, okay, the repayment of the bond. So on January 1st, 2008, first of all, we would pay the interest. So you would debit interest payable for 10 million. and you would credit cash for 10 million. So I'm repaying it. Now, why is it interest payable? Because the day before, you recorded that payable. So now you're just paying it back. Also on January 1st, 2008, you would be paying back the bond because this is only a 3-year bond. So you would debit bonds payable and you would credit cash for $100 million. And that's it. Okay, that is how you solve a question like this. If you have any questions at all, please don't be shy to leave them in the comments. You can also DM me on Instagram. You can also check out our courses at checkmarktutorials.com. Got tons of courses that can help you. And my Instagram to DM me is prof.johnk. Okay, I hope you found this helpful. See you next time.